Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam call. Today we are very fortunate we have His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji from Mumbai, India. And Prabhuji is going to enlighten us from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, verse 21 onwards. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glory to Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. You may take over the call when you are ready.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Salgash Prabhupada. It's a pleasure to be in the assembly of Vaishnavas. Today is an auspicious day of Hanuman Jayanti here in India. So it's a privilege to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, titled Lord Vamanadeva begs charity from Bali Maharaj, and text 21. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yavanto Vishaya Preshta Strilokyam Ajitendriyam Na Shaknuvan Na Shaknuvanti Te Sarve Pratipurya Itum Drupa. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The personality of God had said, O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the three worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. Purport. The material world is an illusory energy to deviate the living entities from the path of self-realization. Anyone who is in this material world is extremely anxious to get more and more things for sense gratification. Actually, however, the purpose of life is not sense gratification but self-realization. Therefore, those who are too addicted to sense gratification are advised to practice the mystic yoga system or Ashtanga yoga system consisting of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, and so on. In this way, one can control the senses. The purpose of controlling the senses is to stop one's implication in the cycle of birth and death, as stated by Rishabhadeva, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma edintriya pritaya apranoti nasadumnye yatatmanoyam asan api kleshada ashadeha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he suddenly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification, by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. Thus, according to Rishabhadeva, the human beings in this material world are just like madmen engaged in activities which they should not perform, but which they do perform only for sense gratification. Such activities are not good because in this way one creates another body for his next life as punishment for his nefarious activities. And as soon as he gets another material body, he is put into repeated suffering in material existence. Therefore, Vedic culture or Brahminical culture teaches one how to be satisfied with possessing the minimum necessities in life. To teach this highest culture, Varnashrama Dharma is recommended. The aim of Varnashrama Dharma divisions, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, is to train one to control the senses and be content with, with the bare necessities. Here, Lord Vamanadeva, as an ideal brahmachari, refuses Bali Maharaj offer to give him anything he might want. He says that without contentment, one could not be happy even if he possessed the property of the entire world or the entire universe. In human society, therefore, the Brahminical culture, Kshatriya culture, and Vaishya culture must be maintained, and people must be taught how to be satisfied with only what they need. In modern civilization, there is no such education. Everyone tries to possess more and more, and everyone is dissatisfied and unhappy. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore establishing various forms, especially in America, to show how to be happy and content with minimum necessities of life and to save time for self realization, which one can very easily achieve by chanting the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. सोमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीभगवानुवाच यावन्तो विषया प्रेष्टा स्त्रिलोक्यामजितेन्द्रियं न शाक्नुवन्ति ते सर्वे प्रतिपूर्य इतं नृपा। The personality of God had said, my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within this three world, to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. It's very interesting that Bali Maharaj is looking at the size of Vamanadev and trying to make an offer. Without realizing whom he is making the offer, he said that you have come to beg alms as a Brahmana, but you don't even know how to beg alms. Huh? And he has triggered a very interesting set of conversation between Vamanadeva and Bali Maharaj. This is interesting from two perspectives. One perspective is because Vamanadeva is going to actually take up everything of Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj, without realizing what is going to come upon him, he is making an offer. And second aspect is that because of this conversation, some very basic fundamental lesson that we as a practicing devotee should know is imparted through Bali Maharaj by Vamanadev. So in both ways, it is going to be beneficial. Because when the Lord bestows his benediction, he has his ways and means of giving his benedictions. He need not necessarily offer benediction as an individual would expect. Bali Maharaj thought he is in a superior position and the Brahmana boy is in their position. So let me ask more. Let me give more. And second aspect of it is, in the process of him expressing his superiority, he also invited some interesting set of instructions which would help him and all of us. So as usual, we are going to churn this particular context through some sets of reflections. The charity that Bali Maharaj was open to give, even though Bali Maharaj was a demon, in the sense that born in a demon family, even though Bali Maharaj was told by his spiritual master to be careful, Bali Maharaj genuinely wanted to give charity and keep the promise that he had given to the boy. Sometimes in our lives, we all do things for the sake of formality. We just invite someone out of formality. We make an offer to someone out of formality. But in this particular pastime, we are going to learn some superb sets of lessons, even from this verse, as well as in the entire series you all would be learning. The very first lesson is about the consciousness difference between individuality, formality, religiosity, and spirituality. We can divide the general mindset of people around this world into these four buckets: individuality oblique superiority. Means a person simply thinks about himself, his own welfare, and just dwell on what is there for me. So this mindset always puts him in the limelight, or he wants to put himself in the limelight. So this individuality mindset or the superiority mindset is condemned here. The person who is condemning is none other than the Supreme Lord. He says if somebody is self-centered, we have quoted the verse from Rishabhadeva's instructions. If somebody is self-centered, if somebody is thinking about his own satisfaction and benefit, then it is explained that even if you give him the entire world to that person, he is not going to be satisfied. The mindset of a person who is self-centered has got three attributes. One is, what do I get? Second is, why do others get? Third is, how do I snatch away from others for myself? Or other way around is, how do I make sure that the other person is not happy? Para sukha dukhi. So, Krishna is explaining that so long as we are going to be having this mindset of what is in there for me, we will see every possible opportunity from a selfish viewpoint. So, out of these four mindsets, the first mindset is strongly condemned by every school of religiosity. Every person who talks about broad minded life, they condemn this person with superiority complex or having individualistic mindset. Here, individualistic refers to self centered, self motivated, self interest with a sense gratification as the motive. I need to enjoy at any cost. So, if we have this propensity that what all I get for enjoyment, and at the same time, I have this mentality why others have got, in spite of them not so much qualified like me. And third is, how do I go past them or make sure that they are not happy? So, this propensity is demoniac propensity. That is why demons are those who are envious of Krishna, and enviousness refers to para dukkha sukhi, para sukha dukhi. I am deriving happiness in others' pain, and I get pain in others' happiness. So one has to somehow or other elevate one's consciousness from this personal self centered sense gratificatory mindset and rise above. This superiority complex, sometimes, if we are not careful enough, sometimes, if we are not prudent enough, this complex continues to stay within us even after we take up Krishna consciousness. So, that is why we have identified these three attributes. When they are seen within ourselves, we should immediately take some advice of some senior devotees and get ourselves some cure, some treatment. Otherwise, we will succumb because of our own mean nature. So, in our devotional journey, this mentality of I, me, mine is very strongly condemned. And we may justify these qualities with some spiritual reasoning, but so long as the beneficiary is the self, then it is nowhere Krishna consciousness. So that's the first aspect of the first reflection. So the superiority or individuality or self-centeredness for sense gratification is the first type of people in this world. Second type of people in this world is those who are doing things for the sake of formality. Just that we invite, we glorify, we appreciate, we offer out of formality. We may not actually mean them, but we would perform this formality for social and familial reasons. This mentality of formality may sound better than the previous one, but we need to know this is also no better, because here the intention is not to please anyone or to speak of pleasing the Supreme Lord, and neither the intention is broad minded. But the formality person, he always operates on a boundary. Even if he makes an offer, he has a conditional offer. Why don't you come home for one day dinner? Why don't you come once in a year? Why don't you try to do this at least once? So, whether I wish or not, the other person always puts a rider on me, saying that I cannot think beyond that. If you are coming to this place, why don't you visit me once? Or we see other types of people also. Sometimes they say, Prabhu ji, आप कभी भी हमारे यहाँ आ सकते हो. You are welcome anytime to my house. One time I did that to one very senior Vaishnava, saying that Prabhuji, he was asking me, Ram Giridhari, you seem to be, not remembering about us. So then, as immediate response, I said, Prabhuji, आप कभी भी आ सकते हो. You are welcome anytime. Then he made a very profound statement. कभी भी आ सकते हो मतलब कभी नहीं आना. Meaning, if you have not volunteered to welcome me, you are not thinking of welcome me. Just because I am asking you, you are saying. So sometimes we may say statements in our social, professional, family circle just because of the decorum, just because to keep the, you know, uh, individual's profile intact, we may make an offer. But in the back of the mind, we think that we actually do not want. In fact, half of the time, our heart, because of we being self centered in nature, uh, we have always put a boundary when we have to extend ourselves to others. I can only do this much. I can only do that much because remaining is for me. Uh, It's actually based on this current verse. The formula is reverse. Actually, everything belongs to Krishna. We are supposed to use the remnants. Actually, everything is to be offered for Krishna's service and Vaishnava's service. We are supposed to just barely maintain us. Actually, our life is to be, an offering to Krishna, but we are doing it the other way around. So, Krishna is telling to such a person, How much ever resources you give, how much entire universe is given to that person, he will have some reason to say how things are difficult for me. It is like when I ask him or ask a person about some opportunity for taking part in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, which involves commitment, sacrifice, surrender. The answer is very nice, wonderful, super, but I can't do it. Very important, very vital. We all are supposed to do it, but I can't do it because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj tells a very interesting story. There was if there was a person who is living in Navadvip and who had a very good devotee friend. So this devotee friend used to regularly invite the other friend that let's go to Mayapur to take darshan of Radha Madhava. But the other guy, because of him not so much spiritually inclined, he used to give some reason or the other. I have exams, I have office, I have this, I have that, I have so many things. One day it so happened that there was a Mela that was on the side, because if you have been to Mayapur, Navadvip is on one side of the Ganges and Mayapur is on the other side. So these both the friends went to the Mela that was in Mayapur side. So the devotee friend said, "We have come this far, so let us go to take darshan of Radha Madhav, Panchatattva and go back." So this guy, because he was not actually interested, he said, "You see, we have been roaming around this market for a long time. We have a lot of things in our hand to carry. This is not the right time to go to temple. We'll see next time." So the guy kept on procrastinating, procrastinating, procrastinating. One day, this devotee friend asked, "When will you come, Baba? You have been telling you'll go, we will go, we'll go, but we are never coming." So the other guy said, "Don't worry. When the Ganges becomes dry, uh, when there is no water in Ganges, we have no problem. We can easily go cross the, sand and easily reach Mayapur. Let us give some time for Ganges to get dry." Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says, uh, this propensity of procrastination, this propensity of delaying, this propensity of postponing is detrimental in one's life. The idea was, the challenge is, the risk is, this guy is not saying no, but indirectly his actions are like a big no. So, those who are doing formality may internally start to think, hey, I made an offer, so I can, be free that I have done my duty, so I have some accountability, I can give some, report to Krishna saying that I did invite and I've done my formality. Remember my class couple of uh, weeks or months before, where I mentioned that in my childhood we had my neighbor who out of formality used to keep awake in the night, uh, and for Vaikunth Ekadashi and Shivratri, saying that when I'm keeping myself awake whole night, I get all the punya. But keeping awake in the night is not the message. The message is always remember Krishna's names and glories, Rama's names and glories, Shiva's names and glories in such a particular night, so that you are able to put to use the effectiveness of the time. Uh, so, such a formality situation is also condemned. So, neither individuality or superiority nor formality is conducive for somebody's spiritual life. Thankfully, our friend Bali Maharaj here did not do either of them. Even though he may be born of an Asuric parent, even though he may have harassed demigods, even though he has his own quotient, but somehow when he saw Vamanadev, he genuinely wanted to give. So that brings in the third dimension of people, which is about religiosity. People do activities for the sake of dharma, punya, credit, cleansing the past sinful. So, with all these reasons, they will do this. I will do parikrama to Giriraj so that I'll get punya. I give charity to brahmanas so that I get some pious credit. I will do some godan because in my family all the people will be free from sickness. So the point is religiosity is definitely one step or multiple steps better than formality, but religiosity also is not the ultimate, because in religiosity I want something in return. I am giving you, so you please give me back. As much as I am giving you, you give something more to me back. And please make sure I get something back, then only I will do more back. So, in a sense, I am religiously inclined and I offer something so that I get some credit. It's in fact, as I mentioned in one of the earlier classes, those who are religiously inclined, they are definitely religious, but again, that religiosity also has the condition of the Lord's performance. Once the wedding gets fixed, I will do mundan. Once the I get a job, I will give my first salary. They will not say this. I will give 50,000 rupees now. You get me the job. I will do mundan now so that we get the marriage. We will not do that because we want to put the Lord under scanner. Let's see whether the Lord is performing or not. Let the Lord do it. Then I'll do it for the Lord. So it is like a complete vyapar, complete business transaction. Definitely better because at least here the Lord is given something, but that is not the superlativeness. So Bali Maharaj thankfully was also not religiously thinking. So he was also not expecting anything in return. Maybe he had other quotients, but he was not thinking in terms of trying to, get his portfolio built. The last category is the category of spirituality. A person who is spiritually inclined, his focus will be the satisfaction of his beloved, the Supreme Lord, Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, Gomata, whomever he is inclined to in his service. So the spirituality also has got different gradation, but for now, let's assume that spirituality has one single item, and out of these four, spirituality supersedes all the other three levels. So a person who is spiritually inclined is any day better than those who are religiously inclined, those who are doing formality, or those who are doing self centeredness. So, as a conclusion to my first reflection, you need to remember that even though this offer of Bali Maharaj to Vamanadeva is not personally motivated, it is not motivated out of formality, it is not motivated out of just any dharmic results. It is motivated out of spirituality, and that spirituality have its own quotient because it's not the best because he's still a part of the Asuric family, but then he had offered it to the Supreme Lord, and that offer, that service that he is going to do to Vamana Deva is going to give him a very special place as one of the greatest of Vaishnavas eventually when he is doing that service. So, my first reflection is if somebody comes to spirituality by hook or even by crook, somebody comes to spirituality by chance or by design, if somebody subscribes to spirituality by their choice or by somebody's force. The spirituality is any day better because somebody is trying to serve the Supreme Lord knowingly or unknowingly, serve the Vaishnavas knowingly or unknowingly, they are going to get the benefit. So, my first reflection is let us try to encourage, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning it here. It is important for us to impart the knowledge. It is important for us to teach the science of Krishna consciousness from a very young age onwards. It is important for people should know that spirituality is a way of life, but not just a part of life or not just a formality. Spirituality is not a formality. Spirituality is not just a part of our life. Spirituality should be the way of our life. So when we subscribe, that is why Varnashrama Charvatam Purushena Parah Puman Vishnor Aradyate. So when we explain about Varnashrama Dharma, it is explained that Varnashrama Dharma is not just social and religious order. It is about how they are all aligned towards glorifying the Supreme Lord. Varnashrama Charvatam Purushena Parah Puman Vishnor Aradyate. The purpose is to glorify Vishnu. So, as a first take home message, I want to say that let us all try to make our life spiritual rather than doing things out of formality or religiosity or self centeredness. Even if it is adulterated spirituality, let it be spirituality. In Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and Bhakti and Shuddha Bhakti. So, Mishra means adulterated. Karma Mishra Bhakti means devotion, where some amount of karma, results of our activities or attachment to the results of our activities are involved. And Jnana Mishra Bhakti is they do devotion, but then in the devotion, the focal point is towards acquiring knowledge rather than serving the Supreme Lord. So that Mishrata, that adulteredness, uh, will have to be removed at some point in time, but still they are classified under Bhakti. So to that extent, Bali Maharaj's offer to Vamanadev, which he is going to do after this conversation, is definitely glorious. And to the state of mind of Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev is giving an instruction saying that a person who is too much attached to sense gratificatory things, he will never ever be satisfied with any amount of wealth, resources, and infrastructure to him. So, this is the first reflection. The second reflection is Srila Prabhupada writes to teach the highest culture. What is this highest culture? The previous paragraph, the second last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes, the human being in this material world are just like madmen engaged in activities which they should not perform, but which they do perform only for sense gratification. Such activities are not good because in this way one creates another body for his next life as punishment for his nefarious activities. And as soon as he gets into another body, he is put into repeated suffering and material existence. Therefore, the Vedic culture or the Brahminical culture teaches one how to be satisfied with possessing the minimum necessities in life. So, this second reflection is on this particular aspect how Varnashrama Dharma vis-a-vis the necessities of life are married. In our seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you all would have studied about Narada Muni's instructions to Maharaj Yudhishthira regarding ideal family life and associated instructions. So last 3 chapters of 7th canto talks about the moral code of conduct or code of conduct for um, um, every ashrama and their associated duties. So, in our spiritual context, developing this highest culture, what is the highest culture here? Highest culture is that everything ultimately rests on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Uh, Vasudeva Sarvamiti is a culture that we are trying to inculcate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to propagate that culture. Is today we subscribe to that culture, Vasudeva Sarvamiti? No, because today our culture is somewhere or the other. Vasudeva is our order supplier. Vasudeva is our, we use Vasudeva. We believe in him. We even glorify him, but we use him for our convenience. So, my second reflection is to say that Varnashrama Dharma or classification of people according to their psychophysical nature is very much important. That is why Srila Prabhupada, after establishing ISKCON or whilst establishing ISKCON, he wanted to classify and help us recognize our psychophysical nature and focused on our ultimate goal, which is to go back home, back to Godhead. He wanted us to operate in our own comfort zone. So that is why Daiva Varnashrama project is one of the projects that Srila Prabhupada really wanted to, develop and scale it. Within his short span of time, he did give us the framework. He did give us the importance of we trying to lead a Krishna-centric life and left this project to us to develop it into a proper framework. So this highest culture of Varnashrama is something that we need to learn to imbibe in our own life. And for that, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 19th chapter, which is the last chapter of first canto, has got a very beautiful sets of instruction. 119, text number 3 and text number 4. I'll just read the text number 3 translation. 119.3. I am uncivilized and sinful due to my neglect of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Therefore, I wish that my kingdom, strength, and riches burn up immediately by the fire of Brahmana's wrath, so that in the future I may not be guided by such inauspicious attitudes. This is it's a very interesting chapter because this verse is Raja Parikshit's statement. Here Raja Parikshit is saying, I am uncivilized and sinful due to my neglect of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. And Srila Prabhupada is giving a master stroke purport. It's not a big purport, but I'll just read only a portion of them. Srila Prabhupada writes, where wealth and strength are not engaged in the advancement of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection, the state and home are surely doomed by providence. If we want peace and prosperity in the world, We should take lessons from this verse. Every state and every home must endeavor to advance the cause of Brahminical culture for self purification, God consciousness for self realization, and cow protection for getting sufficient milk and the best food to continue a perfect civilization. So, as a second reflection that I want to say, the highest culture, and it's important for us to realize this human form of life is an opportunity for us to inculcate, inherit this highest culture, which Srila Prabhupada translates into three things: Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Brahminical culture refers to knowledge or spirituality that involves God consciousness, not just skills. And when it comes to God consciousness, it is about devotional service. And number three, cow protection, it is to register the wealth, because where there is cow, there is wealth. So, in my second reflection, I want to say and conclude that one should learn uh, to raise their consciousness to the highest culture, which is about the culture of spirituality, which is about what Srila Prabhupada is writing in 1:19:3, which has got Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. And in some form or the other, if we are able to understand this and assist people, then, as Prabhupada mentions here, we will be able to stay as a sensible, civilized human being and not be considered as animals amongst humans. So, to conclude my second reflection, one needs to learn to raise his bar, to raise his standard, raise his lifestyle, raise his goal to such a way that I should subscribe the highest culture by subscribing Varnashrama, by understanding my psychophysical nature, by making sure I engage myself according to my psychophysical nature. I make sure that I encourage others to subscribe to psychophysical nature and try to keep Krishna in the center and try to make sure Krishna consciousness is the basis of one's existence. So that is why Krishna consciousness is just not part of life. Krishna consciousness is the way of life. So this is the second reflection. The third and last reflection, we will try to relate it with today's Muhurta of Hanuman's Jayanti. Whatever we saw in the first reflection and second reflection, we will try to learn how Hanuman subscribed to these ideologies. Hanuman, as a devotee, is highly selfless in such a capacity. He is asking three requests to Lord Rama. First request, he says that I need to have very respectful disposition towards your servants, my dear Lord. Please give me a mentality that I am able to have very good disposition, very positive, humble, respectful, certitude mood towards your servants, towards your followers. Number two, have the privilege of being servant towards your lotus feet. And number three, wherever and whenever Ram Katha happens, I get the opportunity to be part of it, and that place becomes Ayodhya for me. And since Ram Katha is happening in this Prithvi, I will stay in this Prithvi. So, my point of third reflection is such that here Bali Maharaj is going to be glorified for his inadvertently or by design, he has accepted Vamanadeva's, um, he has welcomed Vamanadeva and is going to stay by his promise and eventually go ahead and give all that Vamanadeva is going to ask. And as a highest culture of trying to promote God consciousness and try to promote the Krishna centric life, knowingly or unknowingly, he is going to gain the privilege that Vamanadeva is going to give him an offer of going to be his gatekeeper for time to come. Because Bali Maharaj, after he goes going to give his head, Vamanadeva is wanting three steps. The third step is going to be on Bali Maharaj's head. That Bali Maharaj is going to receive the blessings of Vamanadeva to make sure that Vamanadeva is going to be his personal bodyguard. So coming back to the third reflection, it is imperative that all the servitors of the Supreme Lord are selfless or completely free from sense gratificatory propensity. When Hanuman was doing his leap over this ocean, he had got multiple situations. He had got multiple disturbances or obstacles, and the way he dealt with those tells about his selfless servitude mentality, and he only simply wishes for Lord Ramachandra's benefit and welfare. This is the same scenario with every servants, but Hanuman places a very have a very significant position of being a selfless servant. Hanuman was finally in Lanka. He was going searching around everywhere for Mother Sita, and he knew the condition of Lord Ramachandra and the entire army. He knew very well that they are all in anxiety, waiting for um, uh, the good news, because Lord Rama had made a sankalpa that if I not get to see Mother Sita in so and so days, I will give up my life. So Hanuman, when he went to Lanka, by design, if somebody had been given such a task, they will first of all not take the task. Even if they take the task, they will take the task with conditions. Even if they do not have conditions, they'll finish the defined task and come back. But Hanuman was such a wonderful servant. He not only went to Lanka, not only found Mother Sita, and also he tried to assess the strength of Ravana and his army, so that when Lord Ramachandra is going to go to attack, when Lord Ramachandra has to go and rescue Mother Sita, he know whom he is dealing with. It's a very intelligent, thoughtful servant, and he did all of those things not for any 1% of his personal agenda. It was meant purely for glorifying and serving Lord Ramachandra. So, what happened was when he came back, Lord Rama was anxiously waiting. Lord Rama was anxiously waiting for the result. All the other three directions, the answer was no. The answer was that Mother Sita is not available. But when Hanuman came back with the message, the very first thing Hanuman said was, I found, I found, I found. Valmiki Rishi is writing that Lord Rama was almost in the verge of giving up, because everywhere the results were negative. And if Hanuman would have taken time to explain, probably Rama had not enough patience or enough strength to behold any such news. He just wanted to hear the news that Mother Sita is found. And Hanuman, the way he handled the entire situation of the journey, as well as the search, as well as the message that he relayed to Lord Rama, all three are exemplary. The way he crossed Lanka, the way he crossed the ocean is exemplary because he had disturbances, he had offers. So he made sure that he very nicely circumvented them. And in the search, he could have done his job and come back, but he did something extra so that it can be useful for Lord Rama. And when he came back, he had his own ways of communicating to Lord Rama, but he made sure that he communicated in such a wonderful manner that it pleases Lord Rama. So, a person who is grounded in spirituality, their only goal is to please their beloved. And here, the beloved is the Supreme Lord. Ete chang sakala pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. So, our whole agenda, purpose of being in Krishna consciousness movement is to realize and understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and somehow or other dedicate our life, serve to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So, Hanuman is one such personality. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on, speak about so many glories of Hanuman, but I just want to say that if we get to serve Hanuman, we get to serve the Lord because we don't have the direct quality to serve the Supreme Lord. But Hanuman is such a kind, merciful personality. Like that, so many Vaishnava acharyas are playing the role of Hanuman, a beautiful, wonderful, dedicated servant whose only agenda is to glorify the Lord, completely contradicting to what is being spoken over here, where people who are interested in sense gratification, how much ever or whatever position, power you give, even if you give them the entire world, they may not be going to be satisfied. So, as a third reflection, I want to say that as Hanuman served Lord Ram, as Srila Prabhupada served Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as Narada Muni served Sriman Narayana, and as all the great Mahajanas dedicated their life for glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should learn to dedicate his or her life in such a capacity. He is able to keep Krishna centric life and make Krishna consciousness as a way of life and see to that he rises from superiority and self-centered nature to the level of being spiritual. So spirituality supersedes formality, superiority, as well as it supersedes religiosity also. So may we all try to take sankalpa to become spiritual, surcharged in spirituality, and win more and more souls to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. If there are any questions or comments or reflections, I'll be happy to respond.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dharam Pranam, our glory to Srila Prabhupada. And thank you so much for a wonderful class. I would like to request devotees if they have any question, any comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this wonderful class as always. We look forward to them. And, we wish you could, take our classes more often. Thank you. And Prabhuji, I wanted to ask you, could you elaborate a little bit how Lord Hanuman actually communicated to Lord Rama when he came back from Mother Sita, which, kind of relieved him from his anxiety?
So,
Thank you,
um,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So, what happened was when Hanuman was um, talking to Mother Sita was so curious, so happy to have finally heard something about Ram from Ram, and she immediately said that I will, um, I want to see Ram right now. So Hanuman said, "Okay, chalo, let's go." So, And for a moment, Sita said, "Okay, let's go." Then she said, "Wait a minute, how can I go with you?" And she said three reasoning. And the three reasoning were, number one, that Mother Sita said, "I want Ramachandra Prabhu to come over here, win me over Ravana. Not that I'm just sneaking out of this place. So it is glory to my husband when you do that. Second, I'm you're a brahmachari and I am not supposed to, uh, you're not supposed to uh, touch me, or I'm not supposed to travel with you. So that is not going to be the right etiquette. So let's, follow the etiquette. Number three, she very jokingly said, "After all, you are a monkey. Huh? What is the, confidence on which I can, come with you? What if you jump here and there and not take me carefully to the, destination?" It was a joke or trying to be on lighter side. So Hanuman got super excited when he saw Mother Sita. I mean, he got, because he knew exactly what Lord Rama was going through. He was going through a lot of agony and so much of a wait, so much of a time, so much of, search. So he immediately wanted to go back. But he said, "I should go back with the good news, but I should also offer an extra gift to him." So, in his desire, that is what is called a first class servant. A first class servant is those who does his service beyond expectations. Srila Prabhupada explains, a Brahmana is such a person who keeps the place cleaner than what it used to be. Suppose for example, a Brahmana visits inside my room. By the time he steps out of the room, when he steps out, the room is at least two notch better than what it was before. That is how his consciousness works. So it is not only physical cleanliness, it is also about consciousness cleanliness. So, as a first class servant, Hanuman wanted to do something exceeding the expectations. So, he could have gone back, but he said that let me take little extra time and assess the strength of Ravana. So he landed up in killing one of the sons of Ravana, some ministers of Ravana, burnt Lanka, gave a warning to Ravana, and also did his own observation about any Rama Bhaktas over there. So what happened was, when Hanuman came back with that enthusiasm after all those additional work he did to celebrate the finding of Mother Sita, so he straight away came back, and he came back and said to my Lord Ramachandra, I found. He started jumping in the sense that he really felt that it was the ordeal, the jump, the challenges, his tail being burned. He could have said so many, shikayat meaning so many blames or so many excuses or so many accusations to anyone. But he straight away came to Lord Rama and said, "My dear friend, my dear sir, my dear master, all glories to you," and found Mother Sita. The story didn't stop there. Lord Rama embraced Hanuman and said that, you are my life and I'm giving myself to you. And then, as the conversation was happening, at that time, Vibhishana came with his two friends, and he came to surrender to Lord Rama. And when he came to surrender to Lord Rama was hesitant, and he was inquiring from all his associates, what should we do with Vibhishana? And everybody else said, "No, let us not accept Vibhishana because he is from Ravana's side. But for only one person, which is Hanuman, who said that we should accept Vibhishana, and he gave few reasons. One of the reasons he said Vibhishana has been worshipping Lord Rama, and how come a devotee of Lord Rama be crooked? So hence Vibhishana should be accepted. Number two reason he said was when he was searching for Mother Sita in Lanka, he came across Vibhishana's house and he saw how Vibhishana used to live, how Vibhishana has brought his daughter up, how Vibhishana has conducted himself. So he observed that. That's a sign of a first class servant. He was in the middle of his project, but he acquired the necessary information about Vibhishana, that he came and told that, my dear Rama, I saw in Vibhishana's house. He brought his daughter as a very wonderful devotee. He has been serving you, he has been remembering you, and he cannot be a crooked guy. And a third and most important thing he said that, my dear Lord Ram, that Vibhishana is from the side of Ravana and he know all the trade secrets of Ravana. So if Vibhishana is by our side, he will be very useful. So like that, he gave lots of reasoning to accept Vibhishana. This is right after the conversation of Hanuman relaying the message about I found Mother Sita. So this entire sets of episode has positioned Hanuman as a uniquely, specially, superlatively situated servant, because in his head space and heart space there were only one agenda, which is to please Shishi, Sitaram, Lakshman. So that's why we say that there is no one as wonderful as Hanuman as a servant. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there's a beautiful description and narration about Hanuman's glories in the first chapter of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Sometimes we should study them. I hope I made some sense here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Very beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So there are no further questions. Maybe we can, end the session. Or if there are any questions, I'm happy to respond.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much for this lecture class. And I don't have any question, but you added to the today's Srimad Bhagavatam class about Hanuman Jayanti, and that was so wonderful, Prabhuji. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for explaining these verses and the importance of selfless servitude mentality. And you very nicely explained Hanumanji to give as an example to exemplify that those higher attributes, and also for stressing that the purpose of life is to somehow understand that Krishna is our ultimate goal. Um, uh, Prabhu, but and you also is in somewhere in the middle you were also stressing. Oh, I lost that question I had. Sorry, Prabhu. I'll come
No
back if
problem.
the question
No
comes
problem.
back. Yeah, but thank you so much for such a wonderful class. And yeah, Prabhu, give me just a few seconds. It will come back.
Sure, sure.
Sorry
No
about
problem. No problem. All Ghosh Prabhupada. Okay. Maybe Mataji can message me or write to me through Shamrasika Mataji. Have my details. You can take it and you can mail me just in case if you're not able to recollect the questions. There are no further thoughts and comments, so maybe we can end the session.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. On
Yes,
several
Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhu. Can I?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said that person who is too much attached to material opulence will never be satisfied, and which is practically we see that that is true. But to some extent, Prabhu, being in Varnashrama and to facilitate all the needs of Varnashrama dharma, we work, like in this modern times, we all have to work and like to pay for the insurance. Can you just give us some guidance on how to still, you know, keep, like, we try to keep Krishna in the center? And is that all that, like, whatever we are earning, we give part of it to for Krishna's service? We make sure whoever, visits our house, we treat them as sent by, as Krishna's messenger or sent by Krishna. And like we do, is that how we should continue in what we are doing, or is there anything else that needs to be done to make sure Krishna is the center of our life?
One time, Krishna visited Hastinapur. When Krishna visited Hastinapur, naturally, it's a big celebration. This was all after Mahabharata war was over, and whatever what happened. So when, or maybe I do not know exactly if it's before or after, but when Krishna visited, so everybody who knew Krishna or who are friends with Krishna or devotee to Krishna, they said, Krishna, please come to our house. Please come to our house. Please come to our house. So Krishna kept on saying to everyone, yeah, I'll come one day. Yeah, I'll come one day. Now I'm busy, I'm going somewhere else. Yeah, I'll come. He kept on acknowledging everyone. Then Krishna came to Vidura's house. Vidura told Krishna, Krishna, please come to your house. So Vidura, the way he welcomed, the way he, you know, said, Krishna went inside the house. The point is not what you possess, how you possess, how much you possess. It is about the the intention behind what you hold. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, one time in our Navi Mumbai temple, near the temple, there was a congregation devotee's house. He was giving a morning speech. He made a very profound statement. He said, Krishna does not have a problem or does not watch out for what you give him. That is not what he's going to watch. Krishna is going to watch what you are going to keep for yourself. So the message is not that how much you are giving to Krishna. The message is how much we are keeping it for ourselves vis-a-vis importance for Krishna. If we want Krishna's full attention for us, how is it that we give partial attention to Krishna? So is it like a trade? It is not a trade. Yayatam mam prapadyante is a valid words that as much as you surrender Krishna, reciprocate. But the message is very simple. The moment you say, Krishna, everything is yours, I am yours, the immediate next reaction from Krishna is, I am also yours. In the sense that I will give my wallet, my ATM card, and my bank access to those whom I trust the most. And I will not share any of those things with somebody with whom I have some doubts. So if we have that clarity, at least I'm just telling theoretically, I'm also a victim to such a mentality of holding back for myself. But I'm just saying, at least theoretically, at least in principle, we need to remember that all that I have belongs to Krishna. So I am not supposed to renounce them. because they are not mine. I am not supposed to claim them because they are not mine. I am supposed to take care of them and put them to use for Krishna's service because all these things belongs to him. So as grihasthas, no problem in your working, no problem in your earning, no problem in your house, no problem in the resources and facilities that you acquire. But the problem is when we have our tag attached to it. If the tag, if we remove your tag and put Krishna's tag, then how much our wealth, how much our thing that you acquire is not a problem. And the beauty is, Krishna does not want the money, resources, power, name. Krishna wants us. Because today we are after these things, Krishna is asking for those things. The day we are going to say, Krishna, I am after you, look, you wait and watch what all Krishna will do. Krishna will give everything but for himself till you are desperate for him. So that is why Sanatana Goswami demonstrated by throwing the touchstone in the trash to give importance to the higher dimensional signs. To summarize, it is our first job to understand and remember and behave that all that I possess is actually Krishna's. I am just a caretaker. As a caretaker, you may have access to them, but any time they can be taken away from you because they do not belong to you. This much understanding, if we have, at least half job done. The remaining job, we should make sure all that I have, I will use it for the person whom it belongs to. And for that, we need a company of devotees who will help us implement them. Because on our own, we are conditioned, but when we are with some self realized souls, they help us go past that conditioning so that we can utilize the resources in our owner's need. Am I making some sense, Mataji?
Definitely, Prabhu. Thank you so much for explaining it so nicely. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad. Okay, so looks like we are done for the day, so we can wind up.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. So, let's pray success to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha Kalpata Vaishnava. Patitanam Pavanebhyo.
Vaishnavibhyo namo
अनंत की
नमः।
वैष्णव की जय,
Jai,
नाथ की जय,
Jai,
भागवतम की जय, श्री
Jai,
श्री राम गिरधारी प्रभु की
Ki
जय,
Jai.
all
All the assembled
the
devotees ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Please,
Bol.
can I get the recording? Hello. Hare Krishna.